These are not spoilers, because this is a Realm Reborn, so we're going to go back in time, my friends. We're going to go back in time to a Realm Reborn, because I imagine most of us haven't actually read these. So, story time continues. Our story is to be Tales from the Calamity, where victory and glory lead. And it's going to be from our awesome Merly Boob Blows His Ween. Ladies and gentlemen, let me turn the sound down a bit here. A telling. We are lost, thought Merly Boob Blows His Ween. Immured for eons and free at last. The primal Bahamut laid waste to the Cartano Flats, burning Eorzeans and Garleans alike. But I will find a way. Tearing her gaze away from the bloody churn, she bit down gently on her tongue. An old commander's trick. And despite the ash-laden air, the voice that issued from her throat was as clear as a compass wind. Belay previous orders. All Maelstrom units are commanded to fall back, effective immediately. In the distance, the Admiral caught a glimpse of Archon Louisoir's resolute silhouette, arms raised in the rite of summoning. Not even the 12 can help us now, she thought with something like despair, as she swung herself into the saddle. Dalamud has hatched, and no man can unbreak an egg. Given the foreign levy priority, let the main host cover their retreat and bring up the rear. Enzar Slafzan let go of the bridle as Merly Boob took hold of the reins. A shard of the false moon had pierced the mail under his right arm. Blood riled, dark and steady. Her adjutant would likely not survive a hard ride. Get those adventurers to safety, she repeated. I shall send you stragglers. We must regroup. See to it. At once, Admiral. Enzar snapped a salute. He knows me too well to waste time arguing. Merly Boob reflected as she urged her faithful bird to a gallop. And he knows most of our runners are dead or near us, damn it. A sharp quah brought her back to the present. Good girl, Vicky, she murmured as the chocobo sped onward through a blur of death and ruin. Fall back! Fall back to the main host, Merly Boob called again and again until the route became a stream, then a river, flowing towards Izanar. And she hoped safety. But there was a knot in the crowd, fighting its way against the tide until it emerged at the rear, then pushing on towards the Garlean position. Always, Merly Boob thought with rancor and spurred her chocobo forward. Always there are those who put glory before victory. Save your breath, Admiral. I mean to make those Garlean curs pay, and pay they will, Roswin spat. And Merly Boob was reminded of the old saying, pirates weep with their swords and their tears are red. So many sirens. Spleeny Ebril won't sing no more, nor Anest Blackeye, nor... There you are, you liverless tin-pot bastards. A savage joy blazed on Roswin's eyes at the sight of something behind Merly Boob, and the Maelstrom commander touched her spur to Victory's left flank as she unholstered her pistols in one smooth motion. Death penalty barked, and a Garlean legionnaire tumbled backwards. 2 sharp coughs from Annihilator, and more men fell, to reveal the battle, beetle-black gleam of Magitech armor cresting the rise. It has a beak, Merly Boob thought with a strange calm, her legs squeezing Victory's flanks of their own accord. The chocobo sprang as the Magitech cannon roared. Then Merly Boob was failing, the world drowning in blood and feathers, and she knew no more. The most rest you've had in years, I'll wager. Merly Boob awoke to a familiar sight. Her quarters on the Triumph, and Izanar, his face graven with fatigue, but alive and on his feet. How long? She demanded. Present course and speed. 2 days, Limsa, 8 knots, he answered. The Alliance regrouped in Thanalan, where the alchemists saw to our hurts. They meant to keep you abed in Uldar, but I assured them that would not be necessary. We are crossing the Strait of Murthor for home. The sirens. Roswin? Izanar laughed. Merliboob could almost hear the rust in it. Command, especially the command of a retreating force, was a somber business. The bloody executioners hauled you from the front like pullers with a bulging net, but they had no luck coaxing Captain Roswin to join the retreat. Then came the last of the dread pirate crew's 3. The Kraken's arms, the Carvalen, swept her up on the saddle like a bloody knight of Ishgard. Last I saw, they were trading curses. Good. Merliboob whirled her eyes to stay open. She was suddenly very tired. I could not bring to mind the names of the others who had been present. No matter. Izanar would know. The retreat from Cartano, I ordered a unit to be given priority. Did you get them to safety? Izanar looked at her, his brow furrowed. Beg pardon, Admiral? My orders were to bring up the rear as the main host retreated, gathering any stragglers you directed towards us, then began regrouping. You did not order that any be given priority over another. The coming days were too full for Merliboob and Izanar to fret over much about her odd lapse. She had taken a blow to her head after all, and it was a trifle compared to what awaited them in Vilbrand. As the Triumph neared home, they saw livid crystals burning from Faris Sirius, flaunting their corruption for all to see. Gladian Bay was a floating Cartano. The sea was strewn with bodies, debris, and hollow-eyed survivors of the tidal wave that had scoured the coastline. Izanar was lucky. Merliboob thought she had surveyed the destruction. What size these shards to make an 8th hell of this fair anchorage? And what of we who have been spared? How can we go on when so much has been lost? I will find a way. Merliboob ordered that the Maelstrom's temporary command be established at the Morabai dry docks, sheltered from the worst of the great wave by the god's grip. From there, the remains of Limsa great armada sailed with food and supplies, aid and succor, women of strength and men of compassion. Admiral Merliboob slept little, but when she did, it was always one of 2 dreams that she dreamed. In one, she bit down on her tongue, then called out, "Give them priority. Let the main host cover their retreat." In the other dream, though, she rode a destrier in the cool night, the bird crooning contentedly, the rider murmuring, "Good girl, Vicky." Time passed. Some wounds heal, others did not. The fishing boats returned to sea, and the merchants, stewardess, and cutpurses of the docks. The new Maelstrom command took shape on the upper decks. The ships of the Armada returned to their proper anchorage, and the Morabai dry docks were recommissioned as a shipyard. During those turbulent days, those who knew Merliboob best, and they were not many, remarked that she had been changed by Cartano. To the scores that came to the Admiral for help, she gained no false comfort, but neither was she as hard as she was once been. She spoke instead of hope, courage, and the lost warriors who stood with the Archon on the Cartano Flats. For this, Merliboob won the love of her people, yet struggled to accept it. So unsettling did the thought seem to her that one night, unable to sleep, she wandered the city, finding herself at length outside an Ishgardian stable as young birds murmured drowsily within. When Naldik and Vermelis began work on the first of the Thalaskari's new warships, there was no question as to whom the honour of naming it would go. One fine day soon after, half the city turned out to see the Victory's keel laid, when the Admiral of Limsa inscribed her name upon the oak with a great flourish. The cheers rolled like thunder across the tranquil waters of Gladian Bay, and set the gulls and ravens flapping from every mast. That was sick! Oh, Milliboob's got like a PTSD about it? Oh man, that's terrible. Vicky feels strong, man. That was awful. She has nightmares about Cartano still? Shit, bro. Feels Merliboob, man. Yeah, there's 5 of them from Realm Reborn, and we've read one of the Heavens Ward ones, I think. Thank you. Do another? Should we do one more? I should save it for tomorrow. What's the next one? Is it all about the One more. Okay.